I'd like to welcome everybody to the regular scheduled meeting tonight, and we'd like to call it to order, starting with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And we'd like to begin with a roll call. Ms. Palacio?
Governing Board President Dr. John Sparks, absent. Governing Board Clerk Sherry Lowe.
Present.
Governing Board Member Denise Reese.
Here.
Governing Board Member Raul Rodriguez.
Here.
District Administration Superintendent Dr. Manuel Valenzuela.
Present.
Assistant Superintendent Scott Downs, absent. Assistant Superintendent Brett Bonner, absent. Chief Financial Officer Lisette Huey.
Here.
Thank you very much. I would like to say that Dr. Sparks sends his regrets. His son is getting awarded his Eagle Scout tonight, and tonight was the only night that the council could do it. Otherwise, he would be here. We're going to move on to the approval of the agenda. Dr. Valenzuela.
Yes, ma'am. Mrs. Lowell, members of the board, after your review and consideration, I do recommend approval of the agenda as it was presented in its revised form.
Thank you. We have a recommendation. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Same sign. Motion passes. Thank you very much. Approval of the minutes. Dr. Valenzuela.
Yes, ma'am. Mrs. Lowell, members of the board, you have in your packet draft copies of the minutes from the regularly scheduled meeting of the board back on January 25th, 2023, and also the study session notice for January 28th. And after your review and consideration, I do recommend approval at this time.
Thank you very much. We have a recommendation. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Same sign. Motion passes. Thank you very much. We'd like to move on to ratification of the vouchers. Ms. Huey.
Good evening. Tonight, I recommend payroll vouchers ratification number 15 and new payroll number 19 for a total payroll of $4,771,419.86. Additionally, I recommend expense vouchers 1059 and 1060, as well as new expense vouchers of 1069 through 1072 for total expense vouchers of $8,751,968.47 for a grand total of all ratifications and vouchers of $13,523,388.33.
Thank you very much. Do we pass that? Do we have a motion? No. We do.
Yeah.
I have I have a motion. Do I have I have a recommendation. Do I have a motion?
There you go.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
This is not like a bicycle. You just do not get back on right in it, just to let you know. I'd like to move on to our superintendent reports. Dr. Valenzuela.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Mrs. Lowell, members of the board. I actually have, as usual, several highlights and positive things to mention. We always begin with the enrollment report, and I'm pleased to share that we are holding steady at 6,335 students. And as I always like to point out, I think it's the blue line, yes, is ahead of, above the orange line. And this is a time of year where sometimes you see a decline. It's just a normal progression. So the fact that we're holding steady is a good sign as we look forward to slow and sustained growth. That's always kind of our model from year to year. We believe growth is good, but we want to manage it and do so responsibly in terms of managing those expectations. So these enrollment numbers support that steadiness. Last night, some of us had the honor of attending the Country Fair White Elephant Variety Showcase. And we have, I think, a couple of pictures. And again, the Country Fair White Elephant is this amazing organization that we are fortunate to be a part of here in the Sahuarita Green Valley community. This year, on December 8th, they presented Sahuarita schools and programs with checks totaling $187,000. And so under the coordination of Assistant Superintendent Downs and a total team effort among our administrators, our faculty, our staff, our students, their parents, we put on this showcase to really first say thank you to the White Elephant, and second of all, to show them where the investment of their dollars are going and what type of fruits are being produced through those efforts. But it's just, if you go, it's just a tremendous example of the programs, the faculty, the students. They are our best ambassadors. It reminds you that the fine arts are an integral part of education, and that education is this holistic, comprehensive process which reflects, I think, what we do in sports, what we do in fine arts and leadership in clubs and academics. So it's just really kind of a testimony to who we are, what we do, and those pictures, and our kids say it in a way that only they can do. It does also remind you, as I was sitting there last night, that we have something pretty special here in Sahuarita. I call it the Sahuarita Wins Way. You know, we're all going to be better if we focus on what we have in common, and we put in our own 2 cents, our own strengths, our gifts, our abilities, our dollars, and the final product will be better than if we go it alone. So we are very blessed and fortunate for that. And speaking of fortunate, the NJROTC orienteering team recently competed in the Area 11 Orienteering Championships in California. Well, there you go. You could see they're standing outside the Richard Nixon Presidential Library and Museum, which I believe is in Whittier. So it's in that general area. And Area 11 is a pretty broad area. It's basically a lot of the western states is how the ROTC divides them. And we came in third, which means we qualified for nationals. And orienteering, as I understand, is kind of like you're given maps and tools, and you have to find your way through different courses and requirements, obstacles perhaps. And so they're on their way to nationals in Georgia at the end of March. So we're very, very, very proud of these students and the faculty and Commander Roberson, Master Sergeant King. I have, I think, pictures from SOPRI. They recently, Mr. Beachy recently started up some outreach initiatives. This one is for parents in the community and students to promote literacy. So as you can tell, they get them some food and they do some training. I think you saw Jen Spooner, and I think Paloma Lizarraga was there. They help parents and kids to work together in building up academic skills, literacy, and just a love of reading. And from what I heard, it was a total home run, a super success, and something that hopefully will continue. And I'm also pleased to share that 30, if you can believe it, 30 of our students from both Walden Grove and Sahuarita High School qualified for the, I think it's Arizona Music Educator Association, AMEA, All Regional Honor Festival. This is like the all-star team of our area's high school bands. And I think it's orchestra and choir too. And we had 30 students, which makes me very proud. Again, like I said at the White Elephant, the fine arts is an integral part of who we are. And I think that showcases it. I think it also reminds us that the investment which our local community makes through our override, which was recently renewed in November, speaks to that. I'll tell you what, you don't learn how to play the saxophone, for example, like I saw some of those young people do last night, by starting in high school. You got to start when you're young, just like you start sports young and other things. So we're grateful to have those kind of offerings starting from the elementary and all the way up. I'd be remiss if I didn't echo Mrs. Lowell's comments about Dr. Sparks and his son Coltrane, and I'll get to that picture in just a second. But it's amazing, you know. The Eagle Scout is still one of the most respected attainments for a young person. It speaks of so much discipline, hard work, dedication, leadership, knowledge, service, and Coltrane's an amazing young man. And I know that John and his wife Kirsten and their investment in scouting and their participation in scouting, I think both of their oldest boys are now Eagle Scouts pending this court this evening. And actually, I was just thinking of this. I think among our board, we have Eagle Scout affiliations. I know Mrs. Lowell, your boys also. So it's just neat to see our students shine wherever they might shine in good ways. And so we're very proud. Speaking of students shining, I believe these are students who participated in the HOSA, Health Occupational Skills USA program. And as you can see, showcasing their ribbons earned at this competition. So I think, again, this is health professions oriented program. And we are very proud of our students as they continue to make Sahuarita shine. And the only other thing that I have is a reminder to the board that tomorrow is our lunch. If you can make it, it's at the Early Childhood Center. It's at 11 o'clock. And just remember, when you sit in those itty bitty chairs, it's easier to sit down than it is to stand back up. But we'll I think the easiest thing is we'll just plan to meet outside the ECC at 11 o'clock. Oh gosh, I'd forgotten about this. This was just this week. That's why it wasn't even on my notes. This is hot off the press. So our construction tech program, which again is career and technical education program, under the direction of Mr. Adrian Morales, they are going into the, I almost called them little house. What do they call them? Tiny house. So they're building like these 200 square foot houses. And it's a collaboration between the students in the construction tech program. I think it's year 3. They have like 3 or 4 levels. It's the 3rd year students and up. And similarly, we have a new program in CTE that I think we just launched within the last couple of years in architectural drafting and design. And so this year they're building this house. It should be done by May. I can't wait to see it. 200 square feet. It's fully plumbed and electricity. I mean, it's a full house. And we're thinking if we could find a developer to establish maybe a community, kind of one of those like was going up here on the other side of the freeway where they were going to bring in prefabricated homes and put them on plots, something like that. I think the goal is to make a little bit of money so they can put it back into the houses and then next year actually design their own. Architecture students will design them. Construction tech students will build them. And then we can just continue perhaps making inroads on this affordable housing issue that we talk about all the time. So very cool. This was very nice. We got pictures there of the middle school state championships. Our students just win and do amazing things in so many ways. So you got any more winning photos there, Amber? Is that it? Okay. I'll talk about our kids winning all day long and all night and twice on Saturday. So, okay. With that, I believe I've concluded my report. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Valenzuela. We'll move on to governing board reports. Mr. Rodriguez.
I went to the father-daughter dance last week. Lots of dads, lots of happy dads and happy daughters, having a great time on the dance floor. I decided to take my daughter out there, did some Cabbage Patch, some Running Man, and I was quickly told by my daughter that's not a thing. Apparently, I didn't get the memo. And with all her grace, you know, she pulled us off the dance floor and had to break it to me that I have no future in dancing. But despite that, we had a good time. So we had some cupcakes and some good food. So.
Thank you very much. Ms. Reese.
So, okay. There we go. Aha. It'll be 2 weeks ago this coming Thursday. I got to go around with some of district administration and some teachers and congratulate our 2 newest national board certified teachers. They got their gold balloons that day. And so I actually just want to issue congratulations again to Rebecca Oravec, who's an art teacher at Wrightston Ridge School, and then Sarah Newton, who's the elementary music teacher at Onza Trails. So congratulations to them again. I was super excited to be a part of the Gold Balloon Brigade that got to go around to them. And for those of you who don't know, the National Board Certified Teachers actually makes up less than 2% of our teachers nationwide. And we actually have quite a few here in Sahuarita. So that's a huge honor. And to have 2 more join their ranks this year, and there's, I think they told me another 6 or so in the pipeline that are looking to get nationally board certified in the next couple of years. It's huge. And so another to coin a phrase of Dr. Valenzuela's, Sahuarita shines. It's neat. And then the culmination of Orchestra Day yesterday with the White Elephant, seeing all of our orchestra students on one stage, which was not an easy feat for all of our district administration that was up there putting chairs and stands, but to hear them play and to do it so well with really only just a few weeks of preparation was really super cool. And then if anybody's looking to do something tomorrow night for a concert, the district band day for the Sahuarita track is, so they're taking all the 8th graders and all of the high school students, and they are essentially doing workshops with them all day, and then they'll give a concert tomorrow night. So if you, at 6 o'clock. So if you have an interest in some of those kinds of musical talents of our students, then there's an opportunity to take part. So thank you.
Thank you very much. I would just like to give a shout out as well to the Sahuarita Middle School students who have been writing to the board as a school project, and we have been getting lots of letters from them, and I'll tell you, they've been delightful to read. And just a shout out that was a neat school project, and I was happy to be a recipient of all of them and that we've been reading all of them. So thank you very much. And I will not be at the ECC tomorrow. I'll be on a plane to Nashville. It's the only thing that would keep me from going over there and having lunch with those kiddos. So I send my regrets in advance. Thank you very much.
Safe travels.
We'd like to go ahead and move on to recognition of community staff and students. Dr. Valenzuela.
Thank you, Mrs. Lowell, members of the board. I want you to think back. I've been here long enough, I can think way back. Many years ago, the board started this award called the Friend of Sahuarita Award, and it was really designed to provide the board an opportunity to honor individuals and organizations that have distinguished themselves intentionally in a significant magnitude and over time. This evening, we haven't done one of these for a while, but I'm very proud and I think with great justification, pleased to tell you about Freeport McMoran's Community Investment Fund recognition this evening. First of all, again, to frame that longevity and the magnitude piece, I remember when I first showed up here in Sahuarita in 2005, and not too much thereafter, I had this little idea. It was this program called Leader in Character, to recognize students for character and citizenship. And so I come from a mining family. My dad was a miner, so and I'd heard good things about them. So I called, and Richard Ducote and John Brack came to see me, and I said, "Hey, what do you think?" "Oh yeah." And so we started that, and as you know, that program continues to this very day, and it serves a worthy purpose to recognize students. I think back a little closer to 2013, when together we decided that we wanted to elevate the number of college-level advanced placement programs in the schools, and we came upon together, I think with Jessica and with some of the folks at Freeport, Angie Harmon, and those folks, we came up with this idea of this National Math and Science Initiative, which we'd heard about. It was a tall order. We had to raise a lot of money. And together we went around talking to businesses, raising money together. And now together we have 22 advanced placement programs, right, Brett? Brett's obviously, that's an area under his responsibility, and we're very proud of that. And this whole Sahuarita wins thing that I always talk about, that we're going to be better if we can find, we don't have to agree on everything, but if we can find what we agree on and leverage our collective talents, we're going to do so much more than we could do individually. And as a matter of fact, Richard and Jessica were one of the first people that sat around the Sahuarita Wins table, and they're still a part of the Sahuarita Wins initiative. So brings me to this latest award. They have this thing called the Community Investment Fund. They've had it for a while, and I think it reflects one thing I've always admired about them, that yes, they are a mine and they are a business, and they are there to be profitable but they are good stewards of the community. I believe it's part of their corporate culture, and the more people from there I talk to, the more I believe that's how it's ingrained, that they're a part of the communities in which they work. And they believe that they want to make their communities better, not just in mining, but just in general. And that we will be better together if we intentionally invest in that way. So I think that together we exemplify the Sahuarita wins way. The Sahuarita shines opportunities. And so it is my pleasure and honor this evening to present the Friend of Sahuarita Award to Freeport-McMoran. And here this evening is Jessica Brack-Merrill coming down to accept the award from Mr. Rodriguez. I think we probably should come down and take a little photo if that would be okay. Come on down. Before we let Jessica escape, I want to tell you a little bit about this latest grant. So we submitted a grant to support something that we all know is important, which is the health, wellness, the mental health needs of our students. Now more than ever, the evidence suggests, the day-to-day suggests that our students are in need of these services and these supports. So we put in for an expansion of our social worker program. And again, our social workers are vital professionals. They work to support the mental health, the wellness, the family, the extended outreach needs of our students. And what we were hearing is we need more. And so we put in for this, and it was it's a very comprehensive process. And along with other organizations, worthy organizations in the community, we have to go interview. Brett was involved in that. Jess Beignet was involved in that. And we were awarded, I think it's $185,000. One's $275,000. So this is for an additional 2 social workers, better one additional. We have 2 right now, right? So they're basically funding our 3rd social worker for a couple of years, right? For 2 years. And kind of planting that seed that'll allow us to kind of, use that as a catapult to continue to expand and to deliver these services as we continue to grow. So very, very exciting, meeting a critical need. Thank you, Jessica.
We simply, I think I can speak for the board, we could not do it without your help. And I think we get to be on the honor, the receiving end, where we see these kids every month and we see the difference that you've made within the school. And so thank you so much for partnering with us and achieving that. All right, we'll move on. Do we have any call to publics? No call to public. No new business. Oh, new business. Online public auction items, number 8, Dr. Valenzuela.
Yes, ma'am. In your packet, you have another list of items that have been designated for public auction. And after your review of that list, I would recommend you're designating them as fit for public auction so that we can put them out there and hopefully capture some more money for them.
Thank you very much. We have tiny green chairs in there. Very interesting. Recommendation, do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Thank you very much. I'm going to move on to new business governing board with the IT update presentation. Dr. Valenzuela.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Mrs. Lowell, members of the board and public. As you may recall, the board has asked for periodic updates from different departments, and we're hearing from IT once again by request of the board. As you will see, you know, IT is an interesting and amazing topic to discuss. I think you'd agree it's an indispensable part, not only of our educational mission, both in operations and in teaching and learning, but also in society in general, and preparing students to be future ready. So it helps us operate now, but it's also a pivotal part of preparing students for the world in which is already here and which will only continue to evolve and change in this way. I mean, I can't help but, again, be nostalgic back to my days when I started teaching in the 80s. Like, I couldn't even fathom the things, the resources, the tools that teachers have at their disposal with how they deliver instruction and the materials that they can get at their fingertips. Similarly, I see the evolution of the things that we do from a human resource, from a financial, from an operational standpoint. You know, my inbox, the paper inbox is relatively mild. The electronic one sometimes is overflowing. And that's kind of how it is. And it's given us many wonderful opportunities. And we're preparing our students for that kind of a complex and changing world too. And yet it also comes with an Achilles heel. You know, I imagine that all of us have read the news accounts of the unfortunate breach that took place in the Tucson Unified School District. And those things are just a part of the landscape and the reality that we face as well. So our IT leader, Mr. Manivia, works really hard to deliver on that educational and operational excellence vision, again, while creating systems that keep us as safe as possible. It's kind of a balancing act for that equilibrium. So he's going to provide a little bit of an update related to some of these technologically oriented issues and how we're navigating these exciting but also challenging waters. Mr. Villa.
Thank you, Dr. Valenzuela. Members of the board, it's a pleasure to be here again. Mr. Rodriguez, first time, so pleasure. District leadership, members of the community, thank you for being here. Yes, we're going to talk about two very important topics. One of them was a request, you know, that it was presented here in a previous board meeting, and it's about the use of the printers. And I'm going to present real quick some reports about that, so you can have the information for future upcoming events. We have some facts right here. The business and the IT departments work together to find the best printing solutions to cover everyone's printing needs. Our district has a total of 99 network-connected printers. These printers are available to teachers, students, and staff members. The staff members are granted access to those printers according to their position. All teachers have access to the printers available at their schools. The distribution of the network-connected printers is based on the school's needs and the availability of spaces. We call those centralized printing locations. The new printers used at the schools are devices with high capacity with the intention of providing printing, copying, and scanning solutions to the users. We call those devices multi-function printers with different options like secure printing, scan to email, and others. The team decided to purchase these new printers from a company that also provides preventive and corrective maintenance, which is very common to, you know, with devices that are being used constantly, and it's needed, and that's helping a lot. That was decided after a thorough procurement process that considered the user's requirements, workflow, connectivity, security, accessibility, ease of use, and sustainability, and also the cost, very important element. The older small network connected printers that are still available at some locations will be replaced with new models once they reach their end of life. The goal is to get the best out of those devices and get them out of circulation once they are not good anymore. This is the way the distribution of the printers it's right now in our district. Anso Trail has 9 printers. 7 out of those 9 are high-capacity printers. Copperview Elementary School has 10 printers. 2 of those are high-capacity printers. ECC has 1 printer. Link 1 printer. SHS is the campus with more devices in our district. 16. 6 out of those are printers of high capacity. Walden Grove High School has 8 printers. SIS, 8 printers. SMS, 10. Salisbury Elementary School has 3. SPS, 8. And our newest school, Wrights and Rich, 7 printers. It's very important to make a comment here that the intention of using those multifunction printers is to cover the entire capacity of the campuses. Little by little, we're going to be working on that, so everyone has access to printers whenever they need. What are the local printers? If you hear about local printers, we're talking about a device that is connected directly to a computer. The connection is done through a USB cable, and this device is only available to one user, the one using the computer, and it's not connected to the district network or the internet. We are aware of the existence of these devices in offices, classrooms, and as mentioned, the plan is to remove them once they reach their end of life and take note of those printing needs of the staff using them. Very important. The district technology policy is that we don't support personal devices. Therefore, personal printers cannot be used can be used only when these devices do not require the installation of software on the district computers. There's a specific reason for that, and we'll talk about that a little bit more. According to the security measures that we have in place for several years, the users cannot install software to the computers. That's another, safe security issue. The existing this is very important because once you get to a classroom and you see a local printer connected to the computer, that's possible because the existing operating system of the district computers, which is Windows, in most cases automatically detects the device that is connected via USB and allows the computer to communicate with the printer without requesting to install additional software. Some printers work fine just by connecting them to the computer. As of today, the IT department hasn't identified any risk when connecting local printers to the computers via USB. The IT department doesn't recommend the use of local printers because of the cost and the constant troubleshooting needs. In summary, the business and IT departments will continue to work closely with schools leadership to identify needs and provide solutions to cover the printing all over the district. All teachers in the district have access to a printer, copier, or scanner. By using multifunction network-connected printers, the district can use its resources more efficiently and effectively and provide the printing services required for our mission. The IT department will continue researching and providing advice about new and better technologies to print. With this, I conclude the topic about the printers, and I'll start with another very important one. At the end of the presentation, I'll be available for any questions if you want. Also, in this presentation, that it was shared with you, at the bottom of the slides there are some notes that you can see with important information for you to learn a little bit more about the topic. This is called the importance of cybersecurity in education. From 2016 to 2019, there have been 855 cyber attacks on U.S. school districts. Microsoft Security Intelligence has said there are more attacks on school districts than any other industry. In 2019, there were 348 cyber attacks on school districts, and 89 of those were ransomware attacks, like the one Dr. V mentioned happened at TUSD. In 2020, 84 ransomware attacks were registered. In 2021, 88 attacks were identified as ransomware, affecting 998 K-12 schools. In 2022, 89 ransomware attacks were perpetrated on schools districts, affecting 1,981 K-12 schools. As you can see, the trending is there, and we're getting more and more attacks, and that's very concerning. Here's a sample of those concerning issues and attacks. The Los Angeles School District got hacked. They were a victim of a ransomware attack, affecting more than 565,000 students. This is the second largest school district in the nation, just after New York, with 900,000 students. This is one of the postings that TUSD put out there. It says on Monday, January the 3rd, this was last week, TUSD sustained a significant cyber attack. This cyber attack affected major parts of our district network, and as a result, many of the district systems of operations such as iVisions, Synergy, Time Clock Plus, etc., became inaccessible. They practically stopped the whole district. This was mentioned last year in September. In the IT department, we follow the CISA Communications, which is one of the major agencies in the nation communicating and putting solutions out there, supporting different institutions and also the K-12 schools. The FBI and the Cybersecurity Infrastructure Security Agency, CISA, and the Multi-State Information Sharing and Analysis Center released information anticipating that attacks on K-12 schools may increase during the 2022-2023 school year, which is happening. K-12 institutions may be seen as particularly lucrative targets. This slide shows what we presented here last year on March as part of the technology status report. And at the left top corner, you can see the traditional structure of an IT department and its processes. And I added these three important new topics if you want. And it was mentioned, one of them, as the cybersecurity, which is nowadays a very important one. What is cybersecurity? The practice of protecting internet-connected systems, including hardware, software, and data from attacks, damage, or unauthorized access. It involves using a combination of technologies, processes, and policies to keep networks, devices, and users' information safe from cyber threats like hacking, malware, phishing, and other types of cybercrime. Why is cybersecurity important for school districts? We store documentation, we store sensitive information about students, staff, and the district itself. This information can include personal details, grades, and financial information. If this information falls into the wrong hands, it can be used for malicious purposes such as identity theft, fraud, or bullying. By implementing well-balanced security measures, school districts can protect this information and ensure a safe and secure educational environment. That's our goal. Here are some other interesting stats. I'd like to ask you to pay attention to all of them, but one of the ones I really care, it's the 47% of American adults have had their personal information exposed by cyber criminals. This means that accounts, passwords, and all that information at some point, it's going to be put out there. When I use some website to register and open an account, I always think about the information that I am going to provide on that website because that's going to be public for sure. So another one, if you think about the social media platform Facebook, 600,000 accounts are hacked every single day. That's concerning. Another one that caught my attention is the first one. 1 in 3 homes with computers are infected with malicious software, and we don't know. With that being said, we're going to list and we're going to talk about the most common types of cyber threats faced by school districts. Phishing scams, malware, hacking, social engineering, the increase in mobile devices connected to district networks. We have our guest Wi-Fi here in our district, which is an independent network if you want. So that's why we're able to connect guest devices on. The cybersecurity best practices in a school district. These are constantly changing because they're being adapted according to the threats. So a strong password policy, that's very recommended for everyone, not only in professional field or work accounts, but in personal accounts too. Another one that is going to be very used, and it's been used for a long time already, is the use of two-factor authentication. We started working here in the district, and we're going to get everyone's accounts with 2FA because that's a very important layer of protection that provides us a lot of security. Actually, you can prevent 99% of your account being hacked if you have two-factor authentication. And because of the reason why is this happening is because all the information out there, it's being hacked and breached. And that means that your account, your password, is already available at some point. So two-factor authentication is very important because that's an extra layer of protection. One is your password, and another one is something that you have, like your cell phone, prompt on your cell phone, or other applications that are free, that are called authenticators, can be used for that. One of the most commons in the past was the use of text messages, which we don't recommend because cell phone numbers are being spoofed and cloned. We recommend the use of a two-factor authentication through a prompt or another application that can be used, which these applications are called authenticators again, and they generate codes that are changing every 30 seconds, and those can be used to get access to your accounts. The use of firewalls and antivirus software, all the computers in the district, don't leave every computer that it's added to our assets. It doesn't go out of the school of the IT department without an antivirus. We limit the access to sensitive information, the access only to those who need it. That's how we call it. And we regularly apply backups of our important data. We're doing a lot of changes in the future because not only the environment in general is requesting us or asking us to do that, it's because also the service providers, like the insurance company, is setting rules so they can continue providing the services. And we're going to work on that regard too. Summary and remarks about this important topic. The IT department will continue working on implementing well-balanced cybersecurity measures, improving security to protect our users' accounts according to identified cyber threats. For our district, finding the right balance between security and convenience is important because we live in an interconnected world. The efforts to find this balance are permanent and include using strong passwords and two-factor authentication and being cautious when opening emails or clicking on links from unknown or external sources. I'm very happy to announce that we continue receiving emails and IT tickets from users in the district when they notice something that it's, coming from someone that they don't know, or maybe someone that they know, but it's not that real, that person. And they're communicating with us, and we're helping them and also showing them how they can help us to keep, our network safe. We're also increasing students and staff cybersecurity awareness is very important because it helps to reinforce the culture of security within the district. I don't know if you have been receiving, those emails about updates or Power School. We decided to start to add some, cybersecurity messages at the top, how to do this, how to do that, how to use your password. We're trying to increase that knowledge in everyone so we can be more strong and protected. When everyone understands the importance of cybersecurity and the role we all play in protecting sensitive information, the risk of a successful cyber attack is reduced. By implementing evolving and thorough cybersecurity privacy plans early on and proactively, our district can significantly reduce the risk of exposing our users' data and being a victim of a ransomware attack. The whole environment is changing. It changed at a high speed, high pace when we went through the pandemic, and a lot of devices were put out there. Access to internet increased, and unfortunately, that's been one of the things that the malicious persons are using against us. At this point, I'm open to any questions or comments, suggestions.
Thank you very much. Do we have any questions? Mr. Downs?
Yes. Yes, sir. Thank you for both of your questions. Yeah, for the first one, yes, I belong to a group, actually a couple of groups. We meet on Mondays, 7:30 in the morning, every single Monday. That's an state group. It's through the one of the organizations that it's been out there for a while. I think becoming one of the members, it's very important because all the information that they have available, we can use it. We're actually using a lot of information that is being shared through them. And I am a member of the Arizona Telecommunications and Information Council. Actually, we had our board meeting at noon today. And I insisted in that part of advocating for us and for everyone in the state and all the school district with, state authorities and at the federal government too, because the school districts are very important. One of the things I like to comment and why we are a target is because we have a lot of information about students who are minors. And there is this intention of the hackers to steal identities. So there is a way that they're kind of investing in stealing identities. They steal younger people identities and wait until they turn 18, and then they start applying for loans and different financial ways to get money out of that, which actually it's creating a 2.1 billion a year, back if you want for them, and it's really concerning. So for everyone here and members of the community, and for those who are watching us, the least you guys should be doing is to add two-factor authentication to your accounts. And also, the elements that we have here, in the technology field, there are workarounds for everything. And you can use a computer in a way, I can use it in a different way. And there are ways to get access to files that are being shared out there. Right now, one of the security measures that we had to apply was in regards to sharing documents and folders through Google Drive. We were attacked, if you want to put it that way. During maybe close to 6-7 weeks, we were receiving fake emails from Dr. Valenzuela, from principals. That information was being received in the users' inboxes. And they were receiving shared notifications of folders and files, which were requesting them to add information to some Google form or other kind of documents shared, and that was a big concern. As of today, we don't have the way to open those things that we had before. We're in contact with Google. We had a meeting Monday with them because, Google is really good at their business, but customer service is not that good. They're not after, they only want your data, that's for sure. And I, respect them because they are doing a great job of providing all these tools that we use. But again, there are workarounds, and those workarounds have been shared through documents with everyone in the district. Actually, I've been visiting some teachers, to help them and guide them and show them that we can help them to get access to those documents that are shared through email. Right now, if you ask me about a link that it was shared with you from an external person, not part of the district, those are not being opened because we can't control that. But we can control those documents that are shared as attachments, and those are flowing as usual. There are different ways to do it. Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Downs, for the question.
Thank you very much. Ms. Reese.
So with all of the concern for cybersecurity, there's programs, and as we continue to sort of move into sort of a more digital age, is there a process by which we can evaluate partnerships with other educational companies or institutions? For example, I'm exploring an option right now that would work with Overdrive Media in their school sources, to where it would essentially allow our students to be able to access public library digitally on their digital resources for those who have even just a phone and have the appropriate app in order which to read books. So is there a process by which the district can evaluate those relationships and see as to whether or not it fits within our cybersecurity protocols and things like that?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for the question. Yeah, it's very exciting, all those tools that we can find out there. And we have to be very careful with that, especially when we are going to allow our students to use those platforms. Every single provider and developers, they have their own rules, and they also provide the minimum requirements for that. And that's when we establish a relationship with them to get all the information that we need to make sure that our students are going to be safe using those platforms. The IT department uses the help desk. That's a web-based system where we receive all these requests from the clients and the customers, and we can provide the guidance for that and make sure that that integration of those systems work perfect. And there's always a way to work in advance and plan those projects so we can start working on them the first day of school of the school. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any additional questions? Thank you very much for your presentation, and
Thank
thank
you.
you for
Thank you, everyone.
protecting our children.
Miss Lowell, if I may, just to kind of, as we teachers like to say, get closure, kind of summarize actively, just from my very basic lens of understanding, I learned something from Manny every time I talk with him. But I think one of the things we heard is that managing this digital landscape is a total team effort. Every student, every faculty member, we all have a role to play. And that first involves, you heard him mention education. And all of us are in a position where we need to keep learning about these systems, how they operate, and how we can keep ourselves safe. He mentioned how they are. I get those messages too, those tips, those pieces of advice. It's a constant process. It's, I think, as we see every day, where multi-million-dollar health systems or other educational, we can never say we can absolutely eliminate the risk, but we can manage it through some of these intentional actions. And one of the things that I heard that I really appreciate from how we're approaching this is that we are taking security with the appropriate seriousness that it deserves because of the implications and the impacts and the importance of that security. But every time I talk to Manny, he radiates and I believe clearly understands that these are tools that are there to serve us, to help us teach better, to help us run our human resources and finances better, and to prepare students for the future-ready world that we're preparing them for. And so I appreciate that, because it's not always easy. To balance what is easiest is not always what is best. And Manny values both of those priorities and works very delicately and very intelligently and thoughtfully to help us move forward in an equilibrium and balanced way. So thank you, Manny, and thank you for this presentation.
If I may, real quick, Dr. Bean. Yes, that intention is there. The whole team, by the way, a big shout out to all of them. Mike Tex, Ethan Haar, Teresa Pokran, Todd Pokran, Nakoma Townsend, Johnny Camargo, Ricardo Vega, Jibram Alvarez, Chris Stevens, all of them are great people working behind scenes. And part of the work that we're doing here is done by them. I mean, most of it. And I'm very proud of their director, because they are committed to the district's mission. And we're going to continue like that. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. I'd like to move on to the consent agenda. Dr. Valenzuela.
Yes, ma'am, Mrs. Lowell, and members of the board and public, you have a number of routine consent matters that are allowed to be considered and approved in one swooping motion. And I do recommend at this time approval of the consent agenda in its entirety.
Thank you. A recommendation. Do I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
A motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any discussion? Motion passes.
Yes.
Thank you very much. And then I guess we'll just move on to establish the next board meeting. Date of the next meeting, February 22nd, here at the district auditorium. And John will be back. Oh, and before we close, do we have any possible future agenda considerations? Oh, and I just need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Recommendation passes. Thank you very much. Meeting adjourned.